here's a little quiz. I'm going to give you a math question.
Va bene. Not my forte, but I think I can handle it.
Okay, so in Italy, if I have a second floor room.
Secondo piano. Yeah.
Easy if I'm going on an elevator. I just press the 2.
Esatto.
Okay. But let's say it's one of the magical ones that doesn't have an elevator. How many floors am I actually going up?
3.
Oh, God. Okay. Italian for Travelers, Episode 12, the hotel episode. In today's episode, Kristi checks into a hotel, so we discuss a range of Italian accommodations, from farm stays to hotels and monasteries. We also learn vocabulary to ask about amenities and to resolve any issues that might come up, such as asking for more towels or fixing a broken faucet.
Ciao! Benvenuti a Italian for Travelers, the second season of the Postcards from Italy podcast. I'm Elisa, a native Italian speaker and teacher. Although I was born in Emilia-Romagna, I've spent the last 18 years living in the US and teaching Italian to mostly American students. Along the way, I've learned a lot about what first-time travelers and new Italian language learners really want to know. In short, they want to live la Dolce Vita glamour, but without the grammar. This season, let's stamp your passport with some Italian vocabulary, cultural tips, dialogues, and practice lessons with my real-life student and friend, Erin. But we only share a fraction of what we talk about on our streaming episodes.
Visit www.postcardsfromitalypodcast.com for our bonus materials and subscribe to our newsletter for updates.
With our podcast and bonus materials, I can help you transform from just another tourist into a curious traveler. Okay. Here we go. Remember, don't worry if you cannot understand much during your first listen. Just relax, sit back, and enjoy la dolce lingua. Ok, cominciamo. Let's begin. Cari amici, benvenuti. Welcome to Italian for Travelers, lezione 12.
That's right, lesson 12. And what are we learning about?
In albergo, we're going to learn about hotels. We'll help you find the perfect accommodation so you can rest your head in between Aperol spritzes and museums. And also we'll teach you how to deal with issues in your room, like if it's too cold, too dirty, too warm, or if something doesn't work. Okay, so in a unit that focuses on hotels, I couldn't find a more perfect idiom than the classic thing that all moms say in Italy. Questa casa non è un albergo.
This house is not a hotel. So this is what a lot of Italian mames say.
Yes. And we tend to stay at the house for a long time, right? And usually until we get married in our 30s, mid-30s. So moms have plenty of chances of saying this to their kids. Questa casa non è un albergo.
So what does that mean to an Italian? Clean up after yourself?
Clean up after yourself. You're coming in and out of the house at any time of the day or night. But does it really matter to an Italian when they hear this? To an Italian child? Not really.
Okay.
But moms say it anyway. Right?
Well, it's perfect. It's perfect. Questa casa non è un albergo.
Esatto.
Okay. So we'll begin, as always, with a short dialogue between our American traveler, Kristi, and this time she is at the hotel.
Mm-hmm. In albergo.
Okay.
Buonasera, signora.
Buonasera, ho una prenotazione. Kristi Amati.
Ah, sì, una camera singola per 3 notti, vero, signora?
A single room for 3 nights. Sì, 3 notti.
Benissimo. Siccome siamo in bassa stagione, posso spostarla in una camera migliore.
Non capisco. Spostare? Migliore?
Sì, signora, può avere una stanza più bella. Preferisce una camera al piano terra con la vasca da bagno o una stanza con il balcone?
I'm not quite sure what she said, but I know what balcone means. That's balcony. La stanza con il balcone, per favore.
Benissimo.
And let's see, is there a private bathroom? C'è un bagno privato?
Sì, signora, e anche wifi e aria condizionata e colazione inclusa.
Perfetto, grazie mille. So this is the perfect opportunity for us to move into our cultural notes about accommodations.
Sí.
And one note that we had before we started rolling and recording is we are not going to be covering Airbnbs or other types of user-offered vacation rentals.
Esatto.
We don't have access to what's going to happen in the future as far as regulations per city for Airbnbs or for other types of rentals.
Yeah, and the variety of these rentals is just too wide to really generalize in the type of cultural notes that we have. You can find all sorts of type of apartments, homes offered on Airbnb, and it's difficult to concentrate that in just a few tiny lines. You know?
The other thing about Airbnb is that every city is now having its own sort of reckoning when it comes to temporary accommodations. So we're just going to sidestep that entirely, and we'll just talk about more traditional types of accommodations you might find in Italy.
Esatto.
Right? Okay.
Esatto. Perfetto.
Yes. So for most travelers, figuring out where to stay in Italy is one of the highest priorities after purchasing tickets. Absolutely. Il Bel Paese offers a variety of accommodations to suit different tastes and budgets, and we've created the following guide to help you book the perfect room for your upcoming Italian adventure. Remember that no matter what your budget is or the length of your stay, you have to learn to manage your expectations for a stay in Italy. Obviously, it's a very different culture, no matter how many Americans or Canadians or other Europeans travel there. It's its own it's its own journey. Whether you're staying in an albergo,
that's a hotel,
a pensione,
a family-run hotel,
or an agriturismo,
a working farm,
most rooms in Italy are going to be smaller than their American counterparts and with fewer amenities.
Esatto. Like we said, managing expectations is key. We'll repeat this a few times.
So what's our first one?
Our first one is albergo, and that's your classic hotel. This is exactly what you would expect, a private room. Many hotels in Italy are located in buildings that are a few or quite a few centuries old, especially when they are in the center of town. This means that rooms will be big enough for a bed, an armoire, and your suitcases. Now, private bathrooms may or may not be an option, so make sure to check before booking. A private bathroom will often be just as big as your shower stall, but on the upside, it will always be big enough to feature a bidet.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you for a second. I have many questions on behalf of our listeners and on behalf of my own American self. First of all, a bidet. You know, that is a feature that's in every bathroom.
Grazie a Dio, thank goodness.
Yes. So if you need any tips on how to use one, I'm sure there are guides on the internet.
There's probably a video somewhere.
Yes, and you're welcome to it. We're not going to cover that here. But my main question for you is, where would a non-private bathroom be located if you opt for not getting a private bathroom?
Let me start by saying that, first of all, I would never opt for a non-private bathroom.
But it's a different expense, is that correct?
Yes, I guess. Not worth the money if you ask me, but I did have one time a room at a small locanda. It was like in the center of Pienza, and so it was, a medieval building, and it didn't have bathrooms in every room, as you can expect, right? And so there was a communal bathroom, and it was located at the end of the hallway.
Okay.
So you had to get out of your room, and thankfully our room was actually by the end of the hallway, but I would never do that again.
Okay. Yeah. So if it says a particular price for a private bathroom, then you know that there's also the option for a non-private, most likely.
Well, sometimes there are no communal bathrooms. What I would say is, if having a private bathroom is a priority for you, then make sure that it's listed in the description of the room.
Okay. So even though you are an Italian raised in Italy, that is kind of weird for you. For
me personally, yeah. I know people who don't care.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's different times in my life when I probably would not have cared. I know.
I have never been through that phase. But
well, anyway, so that's something to note.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So there is also sometimes the option for a non-private bathroom.
See.
If that's what you're okay with.
Exactly.
All right, so what else do we need to
float
know?
your boat.
Whatever floats your boat. So what else do we need to know about hotels?
It's important to remember that the rating system for Italian hotels is based on location and amenities offered rather than quality, and it varies from region to region. The difference with international standards may be quite shocking sometimes, especially if you're coming from the United States. A general rule of thumb is to interpret the rating provided as 1 star lower than American standards to have a better sense of what the place will feel like.
Okay, so what does that mean?
For example, a 5-star Italian albergo may feel more like a 4-star American hotel.
This still sounds nice. But
Yes.
Yeah, but maybe...
Or less.
Oh.
Well, most of the times, no more than 1 star less, but I've had experience or two in the past where it was less. Also, if a specific amenity is important to you, don't assume your albergo offers it. Always check the hotel description before booking or send an email.
That's smart. It's probably smart anywhere that you travel, but particularly in this case. You want to make sure that your Italian vacation is the dream holiday that you wanted.
Yes, and it is what you expect, right? One more thing to remember. Don't be surprised if your albergo doesn't have an elevator. If your hotel is located inside a medieval palazzo built before indoor plumbing and electricity were a thing, chances are that there won't be an elevator. Also, bear in mind that European floor levels start as 0, or il piano terra, and our primo piano,
the first floor,
is what in America is referred to as the second floor, just to make your vacation more interesting.
Okay. More questions here. So, il piano terra, that means ground floor.
Esatto.
So that kind of makes sense because it's like the absolute ground level. You can't get any farther down. I won't even count whether or not there's a parking garage that's below, that's subterranean.
Sometimes there are, yeah.
Okay, but for all intents and purposes, that ground level is...
Piano
0.
terra.
So as an American, that would be level 1, but in Italy, it would be level 0.
Esatto.
Okay.
So in US terms, it's always 1 floor higher than the Italian floor.
Okay. Here's a little quiz. So I'm going to give you a math question.
Va bene. Not my forte, but I think I can handle it.
Okay, so in Italy, if I have a second floor room...
Secondo piano.
Secondo piano.
Yes.
Okay, so I have a second floor room.
Yeah.
Easy if I'm going on an elevator. I just press the 2.
Esatto.
Okay. But let's say it's one of the magical ones that doesn't have an elevator. How many floors am I actually going up?
3.
Oh, God. Okay. So the simple math is in Italy, if they tell you a floor number...
Add 1.
Add 1, and then that's your American...
Yeah, because we start from 0. Okay. You start from 1.
Okay, we start from 0.
Yeah.
All right, so just remember that, folks.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's talk about breakfast.
Sì, parliamo della colazione.
Okay.
Breakfast in Italy is typically included in most hotels. However, depending on where you're staying, it may be a simple Italian affair, like coffee, a small pastry, or cookies, yogurt, and cereal, rather than an international type of spread complete with eggs, cheese, and other savory foods.
So let's say if we wanted something different from what our hotel is offering, then maybe we seek out a restaurant in the area, or would...
Well, you could go to a bar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because restaurants won't have colazione.
That was my next question. Would colazione be generally the same in most places?
Dipende.
Okay.
It depends. It depends on the type of hotel you go to. Some, I would say, the higher the level of your hotel is, the more likely you are to find an international style.
Like a buffet.
Buffet with eggs and meats, like cold cuts. If you go to whatever, like a 2-3-star hotel, they may just have, the classic Italian breakfast, and it may just be prepackaged stuff.
The first time that I went to Italy when I was a kid, it was a red juice, and it turned out that it was a blood orange, but I'd never had that before, and like the hardest roll I think I've ever had in my life.
Yes.
And which I grew to like be very fond of.
Yeah.
But.
So if you're somebody who really loves breakfast and you find yourself in a hotel that doesn't really provide like a very nice type of breakfast, you can go to the closest bar and have cappuccino and cornetto. That would be your cappuccino drink and a croissant. It's probably going to cost you €3.
Yeah.
3.5, depending on where you go.
And it's a lot of fun.
Sí. Now, if you are looking for a savory breakfast, like scrambled eggs or, a sandwich with whatever, like prosciutto and stuff.
Your Italian is showing. Look at you. You're laughing at me and my American breakfast.
Even worse, sausages. Yeah, you need to go to a different country.
Oh.
Sorry, but...
Okay, so...
And be ashamed.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I think you'll be able to find the breakfast of your dreams.
Yes.
It's just, you may have to go seeking it. Okay, but don't assume that your hotel has it. Or maybe, again, if this is an amenity that's important to you, and frankly, like, it is nice before a day of sightseeing and looking at beautiful churches and walking for miles and miles, it is kind of nice to have a really good breakfast that's included. So.
Yeah, for some of us who wake up hungry in the morning, it is very important to have a good breakfast.
Yes. Okay.
So last thing to remember is don't assume that your albergo or in general any of your accommodations has AC, that's aria condizionata, or Wi-Fi. Again, if these amenities are important to you, make sure to check the hotel description before you book a room.
I think that's the main thing, especially if it's your first time or your first couple times going to Italy. Just sort of making sure that you double check, again, managing your expectations and kind of knowing if this is a priority, just making sure it's on the list.
Yeah. Sometimes in Italy, in town centers, the buildings are so old and the laws forbid the installation of AC units, proper AC units. So that may be an issue if you are staying really like in the town center. Just make sure to check the room description or contact the hotel if things are not clear and just ask for AC.
One funny story from my personal archive is the first time that I brought my husband and children with me to Italy. We stayed in Rome. We stayed in an apartment, but it was Rome in the middle of July, and it was siesta time. And you can just imagine how my American husband, who has 2 ACs, handled having an apartment without them. It actually turned out really nicely because we ended up going down. He decided he was going to buy a fan and just gift it to the apartment and call it one of our travel expenses. So then we had to find a hardware store that was open at that time. And it took us on this just a really kind of magical trip through the neighborhood. And we found an old hardware store. What do you call that in?
Una ferramenta.
It was ferramentas. That almost sounds like iron. Is that correct?
Hardware.
Okay, hardware.
Yeah.
With an old man and his wife working in the back, eating their pranza, their lunch. And my husband mimed. It was adorable for me. He was miming a fan and was able to purchase one for not too expensive, but it was really one of our sweet little travel memories.
And in Italy, we say that when a door closes, a bigger door, a gate opens. Quando si chiude una porta, si apre un portone.
Yeah, so that was it. That was it. But AC is important, and it does get very, very hot in Italy in the summertime.
Yes.
Make sure that that's something that's on your list.
Esatto.
Or be prepared to go and buy a fan.
Esatto.
Okay. All right.
Next is agriturismo.
Okay. These are some of my favorite types of accommodations.
Oh, I know why. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you are willing to leave the city and are renting a car while visiting Il Bel Paese, agriturismo is one of the best ways to get a taste of authentic rural Italy. These are working farms located in the beautiful Italian countryside, where travelers can enjoy a relaxing environment as well as bed and breakfast accommodations. Agriturismi are mostly family-run, and they can range from fairly inexpensive accommodations to luxury countryside hotels with swimming pools and tennis courts. On average, the typical Italian agriturismo will offer at least one meal included in the price, sometimes more. Food is usually prepared with homegrown ingredients, and you may be able to sign up for cooking classes or outdoor activities.
These are some of my favorite places to stay when I'm in Italy. I've stayed at an agriturismo just outside of Pienza and another one outside of Florence. Both were owned by a family, and so it would be the mother and the father basically waking up and making this beautiful breakfast, often with farm fresh eggs, with more slow food movement, foods from their neighbors. It was delightful.
Sí, that's wonderful. Meraviglioso.
It was dreamy. So
sí.
I don't know if all of them are the same as that, but for me, it really felt like I could have that sort of magical, oh gosh, I live in the countryside in rural Tuscany without buying the villa, restoring the villa, keeping the farm up, et cetera, et cetera.
That's a great idea, actually. Yeah. Some of the high-end luxury type of agriturismo may not feel that welcoming in that sense, but I would say that the average agriturismo will have that feel, that atmosphere of you are coming in to live with this family. And I agree with you, like some of my best memories traveling around Italy are in agriturismi.
There was one that I stayed in near Rufina.
Toscana?
Beautiful, just outside of Florence. We had to have a car to get there. It was somewhat difficult to find when we were there at night when we first arrived. But I remember getting a handwritten map from the owner to find a specific waterfall that was several towns over, up and down mountains. It was so incredible. And so I had to follow this handwritten map because my GPS wasn't going to work. And it was really one of the best days of that trip. And, if not of my life, it was like such a memory.
Yeah. That's as authentic as it gets.
Oh, gosh, it was fun.
That's awesome. Let's look at another type of accommodation. This is probably one that you might be familiar with. La pensione or B&B. A pensione is a smaller, friendlier hotel that's usually family run. Most pensioni or B&Bs fall under the 1-star to 3-star variety, offer few rooms and few amenities, and are therefore more affordable. They generally provide both lodging and meals. Mezza pensione, half board, which is breakfast and dinner, or pensione completa, which is full board, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Make sure you check the pensione or B&B description to make sure whether the cost of your breakfast or mezza pensione is included in the price of the room or not.
So we're moving into some possibly less expensive accommodations, but each of them may have their own type of charm, is my feeling. Because I have stayed in some that were kind of amazing and some that were not at all.
Yes.
In Florence, yes. So I have stayed in a hotel, I've stayed in a B&B, I've also stayed in one that it looks like we're going to come to it, but where there was just like a long hall and rooms on each side.
Exactly. Yeah, I've stayed in a few of those.
Yeah, and a woman that was watching TV and smoking cigarettes the entire
Fantastico.
night. It was great.
You want to get the Italian experience?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, I've had that. I mean, we had the internet. I don't know why I chose that. But anyway, a long day. I don't know. Maybe too many Aperol spritzes.
It was your unconscious driving you to get the authentic experience.
Yes. So what's the next type?
The next type is la locanda. A locanda is an inn, and very much like a pensione, this is a small family-run establishment, usually slightly less expensive. Because of their affordability, locande have smaller rooms, and sometimes you may have to share a bathroom. They generally offer both food and accommodation, so you might find that there's a small restaurant on the premises. Beware of fancier hotels calling themselves locanda just because it's become more fashionable to do so. They will charge you hundreds of euros for the charm and romantic atmosphere that this word generally evokes.
Okay.
Yeah. Beware of the scam.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's just sort of the charm scam.
Yeah, esatto.
Right.
Yeah.
But my sense is that because you sometimes have to share a bathroom, that you don't generally stay in a locanda. Is that correct?
I've stayed in locanda where I've made sure after the first time where I got scammed that we had our own private bathroom. As tiny as it might be, I want to have my own private bathroom.
Okay, so any amenity that we want, we still have to make sure that we ask for it, no matter where we're staying.
Esatto,
Okay.
esatto. Again, it depends on what your priority is.
Okay.
Let's look at the next one.
Ciao, it's Erin. We're fading out here so that we can keep our free streaming episodes a reasonable length of time. For additional bonus audio and all kinds of other bonus materials, head to our website. Now back to the show. So now let's move toward our keywords and glossary.
Parole ed espressioni essenziali su alberghi e alloggi.
Keywords and phrases about hotels and lodging.
Simple communication is our goal. Therefore, we often provide the default masculine form of a noun or an adjective, and we prioritize formal communication over informal, unless otherwise noted. Don't worry, Italian speakers will still understand you.
Hotel.
L'albergo, l'hotel.
Working farm accommodation.
L'agriturismo,
Small hotel.
la pensione,
B&B.
il B&B,
Inn.
la locanda,
Rooms for rent.
l'affittacamere,
Hostel.
l'ostello,
Convent.
il convento,
Monastery.
il monastero,
Mountain shelter.
il rifugio,
Vacancy or no vacancy.
camere disponibili or completo.
I have a reservation.
Ho una prenotazione.
Do you have a room available?
Ha una camera disponibile?
I'd like to book
Vorrei prenotare
a double room,
una camera doppia o matrimoniale,
a single room,
una camera singola,
a room with twin beds,
una camera con 2 letti separati,
a non-smoking room,
una camera per non fumatori,
a room with a balcony,
una camera con balcone,
a room with a private bathroom,
una camera con bagno privato,
a room with a shared bathroom,
una camera con bagno in comune,
with a shower,
con doccia,
with a bathtub.
con vasca da bagno.
I'd like a room
Vorrei una camera o stanza
for one night,
per una notte,
for 2 or 3 or 4 nights,
per 2, 3, 4 notti,
for today or tomorrow,
per oggi o domani,
from May 15th to May 19th.
dal 15 al 19 maggio.
I or we will arrive on May 15th.
Arrivo o arriviamo il 15 maggio.
I or we will leave on May 19th.
Parto o partiamo il 19 maggio.
Do you need a deposit?
Devo pagare un acconto o una caparra?
Is breakfast included?
La colazione è compresa?
What time is breakfast served?
A che ora è la colazione?
Is half board or full board included?
La mezza pensione o pensione completa è inclusa?
Do you have
Avete
air conditioning,
l'aria condizionata?
Wi-Fi,
Il wifi?
private parking,
Parcheggio privato?
an elevator,
L'ascensore?
a safe in the room,
Una cassaforte in camera?
laundry service,
Servizio lavanderia?
ground floor,
Piano terra?
first floor,
Primo piano?
second, third, fourth, fifth floor.
Secondo? Terzo? Quarto? Quinto piano?
What time do I need to check in?
A che ora è il check-in?
What time do I need to check out?
A che ora devo lasciare la camera?
Do you lock the front door at night?
Chiudete il portone di notte?
And now let's put what you've learned into practice. Lessico in pratica.
So vocabulary in practice.
Sì. Practice saying these things in Italian. So, Erin, come si dice? How do you say, excuse me, where is the inn?
Would it be, scusi, dove la locanda?
Bravissima! Erin, come si dice, do you have a room available?
Ha una camera disponibile?
Perfetto. 3. I'd like a room for today.
Vorrei una camera per oggi.
Bravissima. I'd like to book a double room with a private bathroom.
This is very important for Elisa. So better get it right. Okay, I'd like to book. Vorrei prenotare una camera doppia con bagno privato.
Eccellente.
Okay, so if I take it in little chunks, it's very easy.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Come si dice out of order?
Fuori servizio.
Yes, you may not have to use this yourself to say, but you may have to recognize it if it's, say, a sign that's hanging on the elevator door or something like that.
No, please.
Italy's full of surprises. Never say never, mai dire mai. Thank you for listening and for practicing your Italian skills with us.
As always, we appreciate you and your hard work because together we're working to create a community of conscious travelers to Italy.
Arrivederci al prossimo episodio.
Until our next episode, ciao!
Ciao! Ciao, it's Elisa again. As you can tell, Erin and I love to talk about what travelers can expect when they visit Italy. Not just language, obviously, but with the culture, food, and so much more. In our free streaming episodes, we only scratch the surface. But in our bonus materials, you'll get access to everything, including transcripts for each episode, as well as translations, vocabulary lessons, and cultural tips from today's roundtable. Visit postcardsfromitalypodcast.com for details. Have the confidence of an Italian even in simple conversations and everyday situations. With our bonus materials, you'll get ad-free, full-length audio conversations, practice exercises with written worksheets, and bonus graphics that decode gestures, road signs, and menus.
Our premium subscribers get one additional bonus not found anywhere else. For our Italian for Travelers family, we've created uninterrupted glossaries for each episode that include the English word or expression, followed by the Italian version, which is then repeated so that you can listen and learn, practice, and repeat. These no-fuss listen and repeat glossaries take the drama out of learning travelers' Italian. Listen in the car, on your morning walk, on planes and trains, even while doing dishes or making dinner. Each episode's glossary file features all of the mini-glossaries in that lesson, so you can focus on the terms and situations that matter most to you, like food, shopping, or sightseeing. This is only for our Season 2 bonus material subscribers, so sign up today.
If you're an intermediate learner, you may also love the lessons in our Season 1 bonus materials, so check out our website. Visit postcardsfromitalypodcast.com for details. Postcards from Italy is a labor of love, connecting different cultures as we explore the dynamic nature of modern Italy through its language.
And remember to follow us on Instagram and sign up for our emails to stay updated on webinars and classes.
Thank you for listening. Non vedo l'ora di incontrarci di nuovo.